Welcome to Harvest. We're doing the double again, north and south. This morning we start here in Brazil Village on Bethany Estate with Michael and Jacinta Mill. And a little bit later we're going to be trotting down to south to Lyme with the president of the Tableland Pineapple Farmers Association as he walks us through pineapple farming in Trinidad. Here on Bethany Estate, something very, very different is going on. Words you might need to Google: polyculture farming, Syntropic, permaculture. What are these things? Polyculture farming is multiple crops on a single site. Monocrop farming is a single crop on a single site. But let's go find out what all of these are from Michael and Jacinta, a husband and wife team working their land. This is Harvest. Michael and Jacinta, good morning. Thank you for having us here today. Please tell me about Bethany Estate.
Morning, welcome. It's a pleasure for you to be here. We love sharing Bethany Estate. Michael and I got the estate 30 years ago, and it was completely abandoned. You could not walk on it. So we had to clear it, and it took a while. And basically we found cocoa, coffee, bananas and citrus. The majority of the citrus couldn't take being overgrown, so they were dead skeletons. We were left with 1 orange and 2 grapefruit.
One orange, 2 grapefruit, cocoa and coffee and some bananas.
Bananas, yeah.
Okay.
And plenty latro.
Oh, latro.
I mean, you had to kind of cut your way through certain areas.
Right.
So we had a good feeling about the place, but as the old saying come in, we were buying cat in bag. We didn't know what was going on inside there. So it was many years of hard work, and it continues. And it is just wonderful to see how the space is unfolded. There were many surprises, but it was a start of a beautiful and enjoyable journey, not only for us as individuals, but as a couple, to share a dream of organic agriculture, of permaculture in a polyculture environment, building soils, building relationships, and inviting people into the space to experience the whole scene, you know.
Everybody would be familiar with the term organic agriculture, but speak to me about permaculture and syntropy and polyculture environments.
Well, poly means many. So if you have a monoculture, you are growing one thing. Like in the States, you're all familiar with hundreds and thousands of acres of just wheat. That would be your monoculture. But what we do is very much poly. We have as much diversity as possible. So we literally try, we have like about 13 different types of citrus. So we try to get a little bit of everything. So you have all your breadfruit and your mammy seaport and your pomsite and your pomerac. So really our 6 acres is like a mini estate.
So Bethany Estate is 6 acres.
Just a little over.
Just a little bit over 6 acres. And primarily, what are your primary focuses from the estate right now? What has your attention?
Right now, it is, I think, main ingredient is the developing of the whole syntropic regenerative agriculture, concentrating on the cocoa within the space. 3 years ago, we represented Trinidad and the World Fine Flavor Cocoa Competition in Paris, and our beans were judged in the top 50 in the world.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to spread the gene pool of cocoa on this farm. We have cultivars in here which are over 100 years old, going back from the early ICS to the Trinitario, to the TSH varieties of cocoa. So we intend to leave this as, I suppose, a heritage type of thing, that we have a gene pool inside of here that can be utilized not only for future generations within the estate space, but for our citizens, our people, our farmers, that they can look at a gene pool that is a fine flavor, that is recognized on the international scene for the bean itself in its worth. As well as we mentioned the aspect of symmetry, so I don't know, Jacinta will run with that one.
We've been seeing a lot about Syntropics on the internet, and we were lucky to be introduced to it at Wasamaki. And it really looks at the entire system. It looks at how you plant, utilizing all the space. They plant very tight, very close. You actually want all the roots to be connected so that the plants can signal each other. You look at your soil, your composting, because you want a healthy plant. If your plant is healthy, it's going to be able to fight off whatever pest and disease comes its way. We've tried it in a couple of beds and we've really gotten good results. And even though we've planted the cocoa in the traditional 10 by 10 spacing, we want to start to connect them with fallen trees and the spent banana tree trunks to encourage all that microorganism to build the soil with leaf litter and compost to have healthy trees. So we think that is definitely the way forward, and we are still very much growing in that knowledge, and hopefully it'll grow with us.
Right. 35 years organic?
Just over 30 years.
30 years organic?
Yeah.
Right. How long have you been practicing permaculture or syntropy?
Syntropy, we started maybe in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael very much knew about it, and he started with building the beds with the banana and the tree trunks. And it took a while before he convinced my youngest daughter, Caitlin, and I to... But once we saw the difference, we got on board.
Okay.
But he had some convincing to do.
Now, what are the differences that you've seen in the Syntropic model?
It is just the health of the plant. It is where we plant at the same time that's in Syntropic bed and out of a Syntropic bed, the plant is just way healthier.
Now, when we say plant at the same time, we are talking about literally hundreds of seeds of multiple varieties all going down at the same time as your banana sucker, as your pawpaw, as your beans, as your everything is going in one bed at the same time.
And we do a modified version because it's just the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
So with Syntropics, your starting up is very labor intensive.
Right.
But the whole idea is, if possible, you plant everything by seed, and you're planting with succession in mind. So all your short term will come up first, and you can harvest things like lettuce, and then your longer term will be like your sorrel and pigeon peas and corn, and later down the line you will have your trees and everything that you already planted at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I mentioned earlier on to you, is that a wonderful example is from seed, pawpaw seed, to bearing in 8 months.
8 months.
I mean, that's phenomenal. And the only nutrition this thing is getting is this whole environment of the sympathy, and also, you know, you're building your biomass. So all the microorganisms and the plant roots are getting together and they're having a wonderful party. And the result is 8 months later, beautiful pawpaw.
When you say building your biomass, what do you mean by that?
Okay, what you call it there is a biomass is basically things like leaves, trees that may fall, you're cutting and dropping, cutting from trees, and you're cutting up and you're putting it into your bed. These beds here, you have the aspect of bananas. You splitting the bananas down in half, you putting it within your bed, the worms go at it, they enjoy it there. You get in vermicompost coming, fertilizer to feed your plants. The banana retains water, so there's moisture going to the plants as well. So there's a whole symbiotic relationship taken inside of there. Each plant communicating with each other, and you know the fruit of your labor is so staring in your face.
We've seen all your plants look very strong and very, very healthy. Mm-hmm. So Bethany Estate, we are 35 years in. 25, 35 years down the line, what's going to be happening at Bethany Estate? What do you see?
Well, we see the aspect of one, that our youngest daughter, who is now studying geography in Jamaica, Is very sensitive to what work we're doing inside of here, very sensitive to the aspect of the environment, also sensitive to sharing the knowledge which we have imparted down the road. So we will continue with tours, educational seminars, retreats, meditations, maybe the aspect of coming together, farm to table meal, afternoon tea, bird watching, and the physical aspect of sharing the farming with respect to beds and building your beds and your
knowledge and your practice.
Total.
So you said you do tours already. If anybody's watching and they want to come down, how can they get in touch with you?
There's an Instagram page which is Bethany_Estate_TT. Will give an idea of what's happening within the space.
You can get to see the animals on Bethany Estate and some of the trees. And
Because I think I remember you saying this morning you have some deer and
Yes,
some Barbadine being friends.
Yes, very much so. Intimate friends.
Also, your Instagram page is where you feature the products from the estate that you have for sale?
Yes, we do. And we also do, niche marketing. That, we would tell our clients and say, okay, right, this week we have X, Y, and Z. And, we would organize the suit. We do deliveries, home deliveries. So we're very open.
Beautiful. Michael, Jacinta, thank you very much for having us here today. Thank you.
you're welcome.
You're welcome, and it's good to have you all here and to share this space with us and the journey.
Don't miss next week's episode of Harvest as Michael gives us a deeper look into the art of his Syntropic beads. After the break, we head down south to Tableland, the land of the pineapple, to speak with Mr. Ramesh Ramsmeh, the president of the Tableland Pineapple Farmers Association.
Munich Home and Garden specializes in hardware, paint, home decor, tools, agricultural supplies, pet supplies, car accessories, appliances, and much more. Located at Val Park Shopping Plaza, Atlantic Plaza Point Lisis, and Eastern Main Road, St. Joseph. Shopping comfort with our well-secured outlets. Call us at 663-5163 or visit the Munich Home and Garden Facebook page or www.municht.com. Munich Home and Garden, where we make shopping a fun experience.
And now, a word from one of our sponsors, the Plant Doctors.
Well, I started this hydroponics like about 3 years ago due to getting layoff and stuff from the construction industry. Like, anybody who work in the construction industry, when you're not permanent, like you work for 3 months, then you're home, you work for a year, then you're home. So I just get I really fed up with that. So I said, boy, I'm gonna look for some way where I know that I go be like controlling like how I work and stuff. So I look around my area and stuff. I see plenty people in my area is farmers and they're successful. They have big house, they have big candies. So I said, boy, I'm going to this farm. So I started to look on the internet and Facebook and stuff, and then I see plant doctors doing the hydroponics course. So I come up, well, that time it was in San Fernando side, Retrench or something. I went up there and I talked to him. I said, well, I want to do the course meeting. Well, $1,000, I wanted to fill up. So I said, well, I'll get $1,200, boy. Just squeeze me now. Just squeeze me. Like, I want to do it. I want to do it. Yeah, nah, I don't function. So take the thing. I said, well, I get $1,200 now. I look at it, yeah, nah. So I know if somebody whether they drop out of the course or I end up doing it the next month. Yeah, but I end up doing the course. I do the first week of the course, and by the time I do the first week, I end up buying my parts one time until I'm old. It's by the second week. And when I do the second week course, I end up buying the pump after and I set up. I set up with like a thousand plant system, and that is equivalent to like 250 plants a week. And from there, well, the demand started to get higher and higher and higher, and now it's 8,000 plants a month. And but the business itself is doing about 15,000. And plant doctor here helped me. I used to be by plant doctor and nearly every 2 days and stuff because you're helpful. So I will endorse well this course any day. I know plenty people, I know plenty other like businesses will just doing it. But I can't say well how good well that them is. But I sure that this course will helpful. It helped me really.
The plant doctors.
Stop the rising cost of food now. Grow your own food. Provide for your family and earn an income with Plant Doctors Hydro Aqua of number 30 Matilda Road, Princestown. Grow safe, clean, and organic with your hydroponic supplies, organic potting soil, fertilizers, pesticides, and seeds. Let us help you grow and earn. Call 379-6710 or WhatsApp us at 372-9440. Plant Doctors Hydro Aqua. Let's grow TNT together, one plant at a time.
Good day to you, Mr. Ramash Ramsamir, President of the Tableland Pineapple Farmers Association. We are standing up here on your estate, and I would like for you this morning to tell me a little bit about the sugar to sugar loaf story.
I want to thank you very much, Leslie. Welcome to me and my family's estate. As President of the Pineapple Farmers Association, we are on a very historic site here. Decades ago, this used to be the cocoa and coffee estate. And we converted it into this sugar to sugar loaf story and the pineapple industry. A very interesting one, as we go along, we'll share to Trinidad and Tobago and the world, the science behind this sugar to sugar loaf story. Leslie?
Yes, if I understand correctly, I mean, we going back through cocoa, through sugarcane to pineapple.
Yes, absolutely. 40, 50 years ago, the cocoa estates. Here used to be a cocoa estate. Yes, we have the lagoons that we produce rice and we did corn and other things to sustain, families then. Today we are doing it with this new sugar, this pineapple, the Tableland Hybrid Sugar Loaf variety that we have mastered, our families in the last 4 years. Both the Ramsamir, the Ramdial, and some other families included, started this industry with our bare hands. And today, it's a science that as president of the Pineapple Association, I've been trying for decades to share to Trinidad and Tobago and to the world.
Now, we are on quite a famous site because, of course, this is where you did an interview with some very famous furry monsters from the Children's Television Network. But that time you speak to me about of the families putting in years of work. How you reach pineapples? This was not a case of somebody just buying a pineapple at the side of the road and planting it to see what has happened. How you reached into, or how did you formulate and in effect create a pineapple industry? Because you have a Tableland pineapple, so that means you have your own. So talk to me about that.
Okay, commendations go to Mr. John Barrett from North Trinidad on the east-west corridor there, where in Orange Grove area, a lot of pineapple, right? And we had this gentleman, I want to pay, respects to he and his family, Mr. Chaturgun Maharaj. He lives just in the Tableland village here. He won Farmers of the Year several, in the 70s. And a lot of our families worked with him then. But at that point in time, it remained with Mr. Maharaj, and one of the key components in growing any industry is your seedlings, and other things. But he was able to, crossbreed it, with the assistance of some, science then. And they created this Tableland hybrid.
Talk to me about seed to harvest. Where are we in the life cycle of a pineapple? How this thing does work?
All right, so mention is made of the cocoa estates. Today, that is our solution. 40 years ago, that was our challenge, where the oil sector pulled the workers away from the cocoa estates. And
Yeah, the petrochemical industries took all the labor.
These estates became abandoned, all right? And the families, you know, they had to recreate, the younger generation, you know, myself and some of the Ramdale families and my family too, they tore down some of these lands, and they you know, we are standing on evidence of that journey of 4 decades. So let's do the maths. 40 years now, that transformation started. So every year, pineapple need a lot of land space. Every 2-3 years, you got to get new fresh land. So a lot of the estates were acquired. So every year, families were able to do, you know, tear down about 1,000 acres of abandoned cocoa and coffee estates and convert it to pineapple. We're down to just about 1,000 overall that we produce on an annual basis, in which every month you may have about 50 to 100 acres coming into production to supply the fresh fruit market, which is the only market. We can't produce enough pineapple for export.
So very common by all of our farmers said we can't produce enough to maintain local, let alone to think about export.
Right. But this is where the ability of the farmers came into play, and the pressures turned our farmers into real scientists. And we created this industry.
You said something very interesting. You said that after 2 years, you had to go and get more land. Now, if you're on a 10 acres or 50 acres or 5 acres or whatever it is, and it should be, I mean, I imagine, is a high figure of pineapples per acre, you wouldn't go and plant out all one time. You would do a staggered plant to give you a harvest over a period of time, or you would just go and flush out your whole land one time, your 10 acres, your 5 acres. Because if what happens in the interim of those 2 years? Why do you exhaust the nutrient quality of the land after 2 years? Do you practice crop rotation? What happens? Do you just go out and get new land to plant on? How does it work?
Leslie, excellent 25 questions in one line. All right, so let's see how we can address this in a simple way. Let us assume a small farmer who, you know, is interested in doing a 5-acre plot. It takes 18 months, all right? You would not have, that farmer would not have, you know, 15,000, let us say 50,000 plants to start with, to supplement that 5-acre plot. So he would start off with 1 acre or 2 acres in the first phase. Next 2-3 months, he would do another 1 acre or 2. So that is how the phased planting starts.
Which would also result in a phased harvest.
Phased harvesting period. All right. Now, the challenges with respect to the this variety of pineapple is that there's a lot of weed control. Pineapple must be clean like yard. You know, you must keep it clean. We use chemicals to boost production, you know, environmental friendly chemicals, right? And these sort of things have, you know, it impacts on the soil fertility after 18 months or so. So that is where the challenge comes in, where you need more land. So land tenure is important, and this is where the state support is required. After you plant, after you access your suckers and you plant it in the ground, it will take about 2 months before the roots would come out and hold on to the ground and start to feed itself, you know. During that time, you have grass, you know, seedlings and other shrubs and whatnot growing, and you need to control it. You would try to encourage growth as quickly as possible, because by about 12 months, you must have that plant ready to start to produce a fruit, which would take another 5 months, 12, 13 months, right? So at that point, during that 12 months now, you have to ensure that your plant could be like about a 3 pound or 4 pound or 5 pound to get that fruit at the end of 18 months. So at about 12 months, 13 months stage, you induce flowering. And during that 5-month period, you would have the flower would burst out, the bees would come, you know, other
pollinator species, right?
For the bees,
right?
So you have to know how to protect your
the
plant.
pest cycle kicks in fully,
Right,
not just the pollinator cycle, but the pollinators bring predators and pests
so
on, yes.
16, 17 months now, you have a fruit there that you and I will not know that is ready. It's ready, it's sweet inside, and it's ready for the market. But the bees also know that is when that is ready before you and I. So it will go on borehole. So you have to know how to prepare that, right? So anyway, one of the major in this variety, people look at color. You look at an orange when it gets, yellow. You look at an apple when it gets red. A pineapple now, you also want to see it looking red or yellow, as the case may be, lovely looking.
Yeah, because I was now going to ask you, how I tell a ripe pineapple on the shelf?
Right. So when the eyes in the pineapple open, all right, to its fullest, it's still green. We as farmers, we know. All right, it's time to pick. We wouldn't wait. There's a lot of reasons that we wouldn't wait for it to get yellow because, in transportation,
right,
the short
could bruise, it could damage.
Exactly.
Right.
So the Tableland Hybrid, even though it's green, once the eye open, at that point in time, it's the sweetest. After, when you pick your pineapple, you would have at the bottom the suckers coming, just like this here. Okay.
Because this would have been the pineapple and the crown on the top, right?
Right. We yank the pineapple off, and this gives time for the seedling here, the sucker, to come up, right? So we will cut it.
Because now without a fruit, the pineapple puts its energy into its reproduction.
Right. So, but also you need to time it, and you need the science behind it is that when you cut the plant now, when you cut this plant out, you'll get this piece, another piece will remain here, and you'll get another sucker coming out. Okay. And that's where you get your 12-month a cycle, another cycle. So there's a lot of science involved, right? But after 2 picking or so, the soil with all the chemical treatment and whatnot and weed control and so on, and erosion and whatnot, you would have to, continue your production. So these seedlings have to go somewhere. You can't go back in the same plot. So you need to more land space and that sort of thing. Right. So pineapple, being one of the kings of fruits, there are many other, the papaw and whatnot, right? It has been tested. It's a scientific data has shown that there's over 12 nutritional components to a pineapple. All right. And our variety has shown that, I don't know if because the sun is so close to us and is burning us right now, that has given us some of the niche varieties in Trinidad and Tobago, from the Trinitario cocoa right down to even the pineapple.
Two very, very different practices happening in agriculture right here, right now in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very, very much to the Tableland Pineapple Farmers Association. And here on Bethany Estates, we have seen what happens if you really put your focus, your core, and your interest into your soil. Your plants behave differently. The whole structure of your land, the look of everything begins to change. And of course, lots and lots of bountiful harvests. This is the shadow benny pesto that they make off of their land. And 6 acres of land, polycultured, multi-cropping. One of the best things most small farmers out here can do, even large farmers, is to explore micro-production, to see what you can make to add revenue and value to the products that you grow. This is available on their Instagram page. We would like to thank the Tableland Pineapple Farmers Association and indeed the Mills for sharing their bounty with us today on Harvest. Remember, we all in this together. To my daughter, Daddy loves you, baby.